Good evening, everybody. It is the Safety and the Sportswriter show with Knoxville Nate and Big Joe on Thursday night, the opening of pro football after we had the opening of college football last weekend. Yes, football is back. We'll have the baseball playoffs later on, but this is like the best time of year. And Nate, we got to get to it. But I promised myself I try not to get political, but Prince Charles is the King of England now. This guy's been playing polo his whole freaking life. I mean, God bless the Queen. She did a great job. I hope she gets remembered right. But who had a better life than this guy?
Yeah. How much does the monarch really control anymore, though?
He doesn't, but he lives like a king.
Hey, good for him.
I don't. No, give me that. Give me that.
No, I'm kind of sick of people that just keep getting born with the spoon. I just earn it.
And he doesn't even have to do anything. Like you said, he doesn't even rule. He doesn't do anything. He plays polo. He hunts. He goes for horseback rides. My God, Jesus!
Sounds great to me.
God, yeah, except for the horseback thing.
Yeah,
but anyways,
I'm not riding a horse.
No, we have a lot to get to tonight. We're gonna do a little college football and then a lot of pro football as we get ready for the Bills and the Rams. Everybody's talking how this could be a prequel to the Super Bowl, and it surely can be. A lot of opening weekend games to look at. But let's go back to, you wanted to talk a little bit about last weekend and a little bit about what's coming up on college this weekend. Let's get right to it with Notre Dame and Ohio State. Notre Dame, I don't want to say put a scare into Ohio State because they really didn't, but they kind of kept up with them for a half. And then, in the second half, the Ohio State defense did what they had to do, and they shut down Notre Dame. And I don't know if we learned anything from this game at all. I mean, what did you get out of it?
I got out of it that Marcus Freeman, could end up being a good coach. I mean, whether or not he will, I don't know. But I was very impressed with his game plan all the way around. The offensive game plan, the defensive game plan. I thought he did a tremendous job. Now, he had the entire offseason to come up with it, but still, I was impressed, and I thought he did a good job. And, I don't understand the criticism and the negativity that some Buckeye fans and some non-Buckeye fans are throwing towards the Buckeyes. You're playing the number 5 team in the country. If someone would have told me before the game that, you're playing number 5, you're going to hold the Irish to 10 points. You were going to hold them to 0 points in the second half, 70 yards, and you're going to win by double digits. I would have said, where do I sign?
Right.
But, because we didn't score 50 points, but last season we'd score 50 points every game and everybody'd be like, oh, their defense sucks. They're not an elite team because their defense sucks. Well, this game, we get a new defensive coordinator. He actually knows how to scheme. We have a great defensive performance. It's like, where's the offense? The offense wasn't good. What are you talking about, man? The offense played fine. If that guy hadn't missed the field goal, if Marvin Harrison Jr. hadn't dropped that touchdown, there's 10 more points. You win by 21. I think everybody would be pretty cool with that. But I have to say, I know I'm a homer. I know I'm biased, but I want you to tell me the last time you saw a team beat a top 5 opponent and drop in the polls. Please tell me, because I can't recall that ever happening.
It's crazy. But I don't know if it's, I think there is a perception that is being born about Notre Dame, that they live on a legacy. I grew up a Notre Dame fan. I've said it many times, but I don't really buy into the legend that much anymore. They haven't won, outside of that one game against Clemson a couple of years ago, they really haven't won a big game, even in the Brian Kelly era. I mean, the last time that Notre Dame, and you know how much I don't like Lou Holtz, the last time they beat a big-time opponent, you have to go back to the late 80s, early 90s. And this, I don't know if that's, this is where how can I say it? The craziness of college football drives it even nuttier, because the fact of the matter is we all question Notre Dame's ranking coming in, saying 5. Their quarterback was a question. He played better than expected. but overall, Notre Dame was a question mark. Why are they number 5? And they played a good game to start out. I mean, to be that close to Ohio State. But it seems like people just, I don't know, are so hypocritical.
Yeah.
Notre Dame's not that good, but Notre Dame shows up are that good. But that means Ohio State's not that good. It makes no sense.
Well, either they're the number 5 team or they're not.
Yeah.
And you had them ranked number 5. They played well. And so Ohio State should gain from that. They should benefit from that. They should
be not lose. They should stay at least where they are.
Yeah, or stay right at 2. Maybe not go up to 1, but stay right where they are. But no, instead, Alabama beats one of the worst teams in college football and gets to stay at number 1. And then Georgia moves up. Okay, Georgia played great. I'm not taking anything away from them. They are a top 3 team. There's no doubt. But my point is that there's no reason why Ohio State should be punished for winning, and beating a number 5 team. Notre Dame didn't drop very far. I think they dropped to 7. Yeah, 7 in one poll and 8 in another. So obviously you don't think they suck. Oregon dropped completely out of the top 25. They never should have been in the top 25, obviously, but they dropped all the way out. So you're admitting that you were wrong about Oregon. So why does Georgia get bumped up? I don't see it. I don't understand it. I get it that it doesn't really matter. I get it that, the polls don't really matter, or that's what everybody says, but they do kind of matter. Everything factors in at the end. What if it comes down to, 1 or 2 votes at the end of the season and we get left out of the Final Four? It's just, I don't know. I've never heard of being punished for scheduling a top 5 opponent, beating them, and then dropping. I've never seen that, and you're never going to tell. I mean, I'm still waiting for someone to show me an example of where that's happened before.
I think if it doesn't really matter, then why do we have the rankings?
Yeah, perfect. That's what somebody told me is, why is it right? It doesn't matter. I'm like, then why do they do the rankings each week? And then I was like, why do they do the preseason rankings? Because they do them, and they don't really know what the team's going to look like, but they still do them. And then you have to then reward teams that play good, and punish teams that play bad. You can't punish a team for winning a top 5 matchup. It's ridiculous.
And I talked to you about this on the phone the other night, quarterback situations at Michigan and Penn State that are just rattling my mind. Okay, we all know Cade McNamara is a game manager, but he did lead Michigan to their best year under Harbaugh. True. And he has lost. He's not going to be starting every week. We're going into this rotating quarterback thing that we've seen in the past never really works. It doesn't work. You got to choose a quarterback. And then you have Penn State, where Franklin's got Sean Clifford, who we know what he is. On his best day, we know that, he's an average NCAA quarterback. But if you look at Penn State, they're not being thought of as a Final Four team or a team that's even going to battle for a Big Ten. Why are you wasting time with Sean Clifford?
Yeah,
I don't understand.
It's almost like a loyalty thing to him, and I don't get it. I mean, there's no loyalty in college football anymore. I mean, if you need to win, James Franklin just got this huge contract extension because, he had his agent put it out there that he was in the running for the USC job, which he wasn't. But yeah, I mean, they're not even ranked. It's like, why are you still running this kid out there? I mean, you look at the game against Purdue the other night. He was 20 of 37. That's not bad. He did have 4 touchdowns, but most of them, were in the second or in the fourth quarter. I mean, he came back. He played well in the fourth quarter. They got the victory. I guess that's why he's playing. But they did, we did see Drew Allar get on the field a little bit. And, it kind of goes back to the Clemson thing with me too. I don't know if you watched the Clemson Georgia Tech game, but it looked exactly the same as last year. You had DJ Uiagalelei out there, just not looking sharp. He kind of, looked slow in his reads. He was quick to take off and run. He wasn't outrunning people, even though he's lost 30 pounds. And he just doesn't look good. I don't know what the reason is, but he doesn't look good. And they put the Cade Klubnik in at the end. He goes down, runs them down the field, scores a touchdown, throws a touchdown pass in his first drive. And I'm like, that guy's better. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, I can already tell you that he's better and would make this offense go. And I guarantee you by week 6, he will be the starter.
Dabo Swinney will make the choice. He's done it before. He's not going to lose. He's not going to. Whereas Franklin is, at least Clemson, is in it.
Yeah,
they have a team that's thought of, maybe not a top 4 team, but they're thought of a team that can be by the end of the year in it and win the ACC. Like I said, Sean Clifford's just like running in place. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't either. But, we'll see what happens in the next few weeks. But I can tell you that, Dabo will not stand pat. He's in it to win it. He's a big-time competitor, and he wants to win the national championship. And I'm just being honest. I've got nothing against DJU. I like him. I hope his brother goes to Ohio State. But I like him as a player, and I like him as a kid. He seems like a great kid, but I'm just telling you what I saw with the eyeballs. I mean, the offense was lethargic. They were struggling against a very, very bad Georgia Tech team. And, if it weren't for 2 block punts, which got them the football inside the 20 both times, a game may have been a different story.
Yeah, and the other team wanted to bring up Utah. I wouldn't say a bad loss, but it was a game that would have been nice for them to win to get a start out at. What did you think about that game?
I think it was a bad loss for them. I think they had plenty of chances and opportunities to win. It was just like they were nervous almost, which doesn't make any sense because they have a veteran quarterback who's proven himself and won and been in big games before. I mean, they went toe-to-toe with the Buckeyes last year, and Cam Rising has proven that he can get it done. And I'm just not sure what happened down there. Maybe they just, it was a little too hot for them in the swamp. Maybe the Florida fans are pretty disgusting, so maybe they got to them. I don't know, but it was a bad performance. And what does this do? But it just puts utter shun towards the Pac-12. I mean, Oregon and Utah were supposed to be, the 2 best teams in the Pac-12, but based on the preseason polls, and most of them looked like poo.
Yeah, and you got a bunch of USC and UCLA fans going, maybe we shouldn't leave.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding,
Maybe we can win something here.
Speaking of UCLA, did you see the stadium?
No.
Oh, my God. There was no one there. They played Bowling Green. Chip Kelly actually put in an 8-4 record last year. They did pretty well. You saw some signs of life. They beat LSU. They looked pretty good. And then, in the opener kicks off in Pasadena at the Rose Bowl. I am not lying to you, Joe. There was not 10,000 people there.
I mean, maybe when it changes when they go to the Big Ten, because the Big Ten people will travel and go out there to go a week out there in Pasadena or in LA and fill up their stadium, because LA is just not a great sports town anyways. I mean, the Dodgers are attracting people now because they're winning. The Lakers always do, but the other people go up and down. I mean, we'll see what happens. The Rams will and the Chargers will attract, but they have a new stadium there, so maybe it's the new stadium too. We don't know.
Yeah, well, the Rams last year in the playoffs, if you recall, the Niners had more fans at the game than they did. Exactly. So, who knows? It was just disgusting.
It's all about the movie business. They got more things to do. And now we're going to have the expansion of the playoffs to 12 teams. And, we've argued for this, but you have some second thoughts. Let's hear what you have to say about it.
Well, I do. I've wanted this expansion ever since they came out with the 4-team thing. I've wanted to go to 12. I've wanted to expand it. I've wanted to create more of a playoff type environment, just like, the FCS has, just like Division II has, just like Division III has, NAI. Every college basketball, everything's got a playoff, a tournament, so to speak. And I've always wanted that. But when they announced it, I started thinking about it, and I'm like, does the 12 seed really have a chance? No. I mean, not with the way that college football is right now. I mean, think about it. The last couple of years, not in every case, but in most instances, the even in just the Final Four, the first two games are blowouts.
Right.
Think about last year. Alabama, pretty much blew out Cincinnati.
Right.
Georgia blew the doors off Michigan. It wasn't even close. And so I'm like, okay, what's the 12-5 game going to look like? I don't know. I just hope it's competitive, and I hope that, at some point, a 7 seed or a 6 seed can do something. Now, it's good for me because you know how it is in the Big Ten. If Ohio State loses one game, they're automatically out of it. Right. Now with 12 teams, we can still sneak in there. So I'm all, I think it's great, but I'm just thinking about the product on the field and will this be good for college football? Will it get the eyeballs? Hey, you know what? Even if it is a blowout, at least it's a game that means something. These bowl games that mean nothing.
No one even goes anymore.
No one even goes. Half the kids don't play in them. The teams sometimes pull out now. I'm like, just get rid of that crap. And at least now, even if the games are one-sided, at least they're playing for something and there's a tournament type atmosphere. The games will mean something. I do like the fact, I'm focusing on the negative, but the positive is, if a team does lose a game, like let's think about Utah right now, that loss, that could spell the end of their season. Yeah. I mean, they only lost, they got rising through a touch interception, trying to go in the end zone and score a touchdown right at the end of the game. If they kick the field goal, they win. So maybe they should have done that. But I'm just saying, because of the way the Pac-12 is positioned right now, that loss really could spell the end of their season. But if you're expanded to 12 teams, Utah can play on, and some of those teams that started off slow, can get better. I mean, I think back about Ohio State 2014, we lost week 2 to a not great Virginia Tech team, but that loss just turned our whole season around and really woke everybody up. And I think there's teams like that that can get better as the season rolls on, and maybe having a chance with a 12-team playoff, these teams will keep going and improve.
And the other thing is, you made the argument yourself. If it was in place last year, Ohio State would have been in the 12, right? Even with the loss to Michigan, and that would have been given them a chance to maybe get in there and take out an Alabama or a Georgia, because they were much better than Michigan, right, and they're much better than Cincinnati. So I mean, they could have maybe gotten through and really thrown a monkey wrench into what was the all SEC final, even though it was a good game. But
yeah, no, I'm with you. In 2018, with Dwayne Haskins, when we lost that one game. I mean, it was one night. Purdue beat the crap out of us, and it was a bad game, and everything bounced Purdue's way. But that didn't mean that Ohio State team wasn't good enough to compete. I mean, that offense was unbelievable. And we had a chance, to play with anybody, considering we could score on every down. But because we lost that one game, it was over. So I do like that teams that have one loss, or maybe teams that have 2 losses, will still have a chance and can earn their way. I mean, let's settle it on the field instead of letting a bunch of old white dudes who are sitting in a room picking which blue blood they want to put in. I'm glad that might be over with.
I'll go back to, back to Vinny Testaverde's Heisman Trophy year at Miami. If you ever look at that schedule, yes, they beat Oklahoma early in the year, but they didn't really face another ranked team till they played Penn State in the bowl game, and they lost to Penn State in the bowl game. So, I mean, a lot of times these undefeated teams, you got to look at their schedule. Who are they playing? When are they playing them? I sometimes I respect a team that shows up in a championship game with at least a loss, because it means somebody put something up against them. You know, it's some of these guys that go cruising on through really aren't as good as they seem to be.
I agree, and I think it will. I think it will end up being a good thing. I really do. I know that I was negative about it there at the beginning of the show, and I did have some mixed feelings about it, just because some of these games have been blowouts. Some of the Notre Dame games when they've gotten in, in 2020 when they played Alabama, and a couple of years previous they got blown out against Alabama as well. And so some of those games have kind of led me to believe, like, whoa, maybe this is a bad idea. But I do think that there's some teams that if they get their shot and they're playing they're playing their cards right, they might be able to win. And you know what? If I believe, and this is a big argument about a lot of analysts and experts going on right now, is I believe it's going to create parity in college football. A lot of people think it's not going to, or it's not going to help. But I feel like, if you can get more teams involved in this playoff,
yep,
it'll mean something to those programs. These teams that make the college, the tournament, the NCAA tournament, it means so much to those teams. Just to get in, and the teams that make the Sweet 16, it means something just to even make it that far. So I think if some of these teams make the playoff, it'll give their program, some moxie, and maybe help them with recruiting and help them catch up to the Georgias, the Bamas, and the Buckeyes.
Well, so the eternal question I always ask is why a good quarterback wants to sit on Bama's bench or Clemson's bench and take their chances and wait their turn, because they know they're going to be there every year.
Yeah.
And other teams don't have that. Now, the other teams with a 12 team, playoff or the 12 the big playoff, more teams can attract those guys because they know they'll have a puncher's chance.
Right. No, I agree.
And that's the biggest thing. All right, let's get around to the pros. I love executioner's remorse. When I listened to it, and I heard it today on ESPN, and I read it with Peter King. Now everybody is worried about Trey Lance. I saw it on ESPN today, and I'm like, you and I talked the whole summer about it.
Yeah.
Adam Schechter brings up the fact that the man in the past 4 years, including his 3 years in college, he played in 17 games.
Yeah.
And now going into this weekend, after the Niners made all these choices and everything else, and ended up re-signing Garoppolo, everybody's like, well, I'm a little worried about this guy because he hasn't played quarterback in a long time. Really? Really?
Yeah.
We spent the whole summer talking, what the hell are they doing? Why are they doing this? And trying to make sense of it all. And now, especially with the fact that Garoppolo is going to be sitting over his shoulder, they're all worried about it. Where was the worry earlier in the year? My whole thing was I didn't understand the urgency. I don't understand why they're so, they're so quick to want to get this guy on the field. I mean, if he's ready, if he's obviously head and shoulders above and beyond Jimmy Garoppolo, okay, then make the move. But I haven't heard that from anybody. I mean, I've heard that from some of the coach and the GM, the people whose jobs are depending on this, but not from any of his teammates and not from any of the people that have been in practice. Jimmy G has taken them to the highest level. He's taken them to the Super Bowl. He's taken them to the NFC Championship game twice. This guy has produced, at the highest level, and I just don't get why they're so quick to move on from him. I mean, if he gets hurt again, okay. If he plays poorly, okay, put the kid in. But I just don't get why they've turned the page and done this. It makes no sense, especially when they didn't even trade Garoppolo and get anything from him. Now you've got this guy on the bench. And my biggest question is, why the hell did Garoppolo take a pay cut? I would have said hell to the no. When they asked me to rework my contract. I mean, he went from making $20+ million to making $7 million, and I don't get that. Well, I think he looked around the landscape and said, I mean, I don't think money is going to be his problem. I don't think that's it. I think what he thinks is maybe he's doing what Aaron Judge did with the Yankees. He's kind of betting on himself, saying, I don't think this kid's ready, and they're going to have to go to me, and they're either going to have to re-sign me, when I become a free agent, or he is a free agent after this year, I believe, right?
Yeah, I think after this year, I believe so. I can't remember exactly, but I do know that he's got an incentive-laden deal where he can he's only getting $7 million, but he has the ability to make up to $11 million if he gets out in the field.
Yeah, I think he's betting on himself, and I think he has a good chance of actually coming away with something from that, where he's either going to sign with another team and, or the Niners are going to be forced into a corner and have to re-sign him. Let's look at some of the games in the upcoming week and what we think about that. Let's start down south. Should be a cakewalk for the Saints if Jameis Winston is back healthy, playing at the Falcons. But they are, division rivals. What do you think about this game starting off the weekend?
I'm actually pretty high on the Saints. You never know till the season gets going what any of these teams are going to look like. But on paper, the Saints look great to me. I mean, I love their roster. I really like their depth. Love their defense. I'm a huge, huge fan of Demario Davis, their middle linebacker. I mean, he makes everything go. And, you still got Cam Jordan out there making, wrecking teams. And then they added Tyrann Mathieu, who I think is going to help their secondary. Tyrann Mathieu and Marcus May together, I think is a pretty amazing duo. Now, I'm a little bit worried about they traded away Gardner Johnson, who I think was a really good corner. So I'm a little bit worried about that left cornerback position, but they can cover him up with those two good safeties. And they've got Bradley Roby, who they can bring in if need be. So, defensively, I think they're golden. Offensively, they're gonna miss the big left tackle out there, Armstead, but they feel good about the rookie Trevor Penning, who's on IR right now, but they've got James Hurst as well. So I think they're happy with that. And man, I love the receiving core. So if Jameis can stay healthy and they can run the ball, I think they're going to be set. And I really like them in this game over the Falcons.
Here's a real interesting 1:00 game. Steelers going to the Bengals to start off. Bengals, of course, Burrow not exactly healthy, or and you're starting off the season. Everybody talks about the losing team in the Super Bowl, how they have a hangover the next year. And Mike Tomlin, this is a place where he can make a statement early, and I think he knows he wants to get out of the box fast. What do you think about the Steelers going to the Bengals?
Well, I was a little surprised to see them start Trubisky over Kenny Pickett. I was, after watching the preseason, I thought they might go ahead and put the rookie out there. But, I guess it's not a bad thing to let the rookie, see Trubisky play, who's, been in this league for a while now. Might be a better idea to start him, at the beginning of the season. I think that's kind of what Tomlin's thinking about. Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season as a coach, and I don't think it starts this year. I think he's got enough talent on this team to make a run. And, the Bengals are, as we talked about a lot, aren't going to sneak up on anybody. They're people know who they are now, and they know that they made the Super Bowl last year, and people are going to go after them. So if the biggest question mark to me with this Pittsburgh team is the same question mark I had last year, the offensive line. Are they going to be able to, pass block no matter who's the quarterback? Are they going to be able to, get a damn hole opened up for Najee Harris? If the offensive line can play better than they have the last 2 years, this Pittsburgh team will be just fine.
And quickly, we're not going to spend a lot of time on this because we just talked about the team. 49ers got to go into Chicago. On paper, it seemed like the Niners should steamroll them, even whoever's a quarterback with the mess the Bears are in right now. But I don't know. This is kind of a trap game to me here, too, because I just think that the Niners got kind of a mess going on in their heads. And really, Trey Lance has to get out of the box fast in this game. I think that this could potentially be kind of an upset for the Bears. What do you think?
I think they've got a shot, especially with the 7-point line at home. That's got to wake you up. I mean, I like Justin Fields a lot. You know that. I thought he showed some real flashes last year. I just wish he had more around him. I'm not impressed with the wide receivers, the running backs. I'm not really impressed with anything that the Bears are offering to Justin. But, I like Darnell Mooney, and I think that Justin's good enough to make some things happen, and if things go well for him, I think this could be a trap game for the Niners, and it could be a rough start. And what are they going to do up there if they start off with a loss and Trey Lance looks bad and loses to Justin Fields? It'll just get messier and messier,
ugly fast.
And I want it to let's see. I want it to unravel. So
yeah,
do it.
I want it to get ugly fast.
Me too.
And then a quick one. Not spend a lot of time gets the Baker Bowl, but I mean, if I'm Baker Mayfield, even though it's going to take a supreme effort for the Panthers, they're at home, they're entertaining the Browns. Deshaun Watson ain't playing. It has all the indications that it could be a game where Baker should be able to show. I don't want to say that the Browns were wrong, or at least put a slapping, a bitch slap on the on the Browns. I mean, you would think this would work in the Panthers' favor. What do you think?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, if ever anyone's going to have motivation going into an opener, this is it. I mean, here's your chance, buddy. This team called you out. This team, drugged you through the mud. They tossed you out the back of the car. This is your shot, man. I mean, he can go back. This guy's always had a chip on his shoulder. This kid has always been a competitor. My only fear is that he tries to do too much in this game. I mean, he's wants to win this so badly that I'm a little bit afraid that he's going to try and go out there and win it himself. And that's not what he needs to do. He just needs to play his game, take whatever the defense gives him, and be better than Jacoby Brissett, which I think he is.
And if they stay close, I think the Cleveland will rattle. Next two games, it shouldn't be a big effort. The Eagles should take care of the Lions, although that might be interesting. The Ravens over the Jets should be easy,
especially with Joe Flacco.
Yeah, the only way I see the Ravens losing that is if something happened to Lamar, or they just decide to go all the strip joints in New York the night before. The Patriots-Dolphins. This is an interesting game because Brian Flores gave his mentor all he could handle. This was, and very early. This is where, and Belichick always has trouble when he goes down to Miami late. He's going down to Miami early. Mac Jones is talking a little bit. I think Belichick will have them ready for this game, and I don't see it being real easy for the Dolphins. I think that owner's going to look at this game when he sees the end of it and go, oh, wait, Brian Flores did a pretty damn good job against this team.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, the Dolphins look great. They're another team that looks great on paper. I mean, they've got a great-looking roster. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. They got Chase Edmonds and Raheem Mostert. They look great, on paper, but it's a little different story when you got to go out and actually do it. And I think old Belichick's going to be ready for this one. I've heard so many people talking about how, they don't really have a offensive coordinator named. They don't have all these titles handed out, and how Belichick is going to regret doing that. And I'm like, I think he's earned at this point to do it however the hell he wants. So I think some people are going to see, what's up once the game gets going.
I think people, and I don't care what anybody says, if you ever listen to mic'd up coaches, head coaches although the plays are called by the coordinators, head coaches have say in what they want them to do.
Oh, yeah.
So if you don't think that Josh McDaniel was getting some coaching from Belichick, I mean, if you look at it during the Brady era, you went from Charlie Weiss to McDaniel to Bill O'Brien to back to McDaniel, and
it didn't matter.
It was still the Patriot offense,
right? And then you've seen all these other guys go other places and struggle. I mean, Bill O'Brien got fired from the Texans. I mean, he did a decent job there for a few years, but eventually he got run out of town. McDaniel didn't last very long in Denver. Charlie Weiss went to about 15 different places, and his fat ass got run out of each one of them. So, all these guys look real good when Bill Belichick is their head guy above them. But
whispering in their ears saying, don't do that.
Yeah, or being on the headset and being like, cancel. Whatever he just said, don't do it. I mean, it's real easy when you've got him standing over your shoulder. But when he's not there, we've seen what happens.
All right, you get the Jaguars, the Commanders. I mean,
Who
the only
cares?
thing I look at this game for is the Commanders have a chance to get out of the gate with a win. They're going to struggle this year, I think. It'd be interesting to see how the defense bounces back after last year, kind of underachieving, and see what your boy Ron Rivera can come up with for this year. The Jaguars are still rebuilding. We'll see. We'll see, but I don't think it's going to carry a lot of interest. Then you got the Colts against the Texans. Should be a Colt victory lap. Next game, very interesting, would be the Raiders going after the Chargers to start. McDaniel era starting. A lot of people picking the Chargers to take that Western Division, and I'm not going to say that's a bad choice, but with what the Chargers brought in and what they did last year, this is a big division game to have really early.
I agree. I mean, if you think back to the last game of the regular season, that went into overtime, that was a really good matchup of those two teams. It's, the biggest thing to me is the Raiders finally have that number one wide receiver that they really have not had since Tim Brown was there,
right?
Which was 25 years ago or more. So, what does Devontae Adams do to this team? And can he get them over the hump? They've been okay. They looked good last year, but they went ahead and made the move. So they're kind of starting from scratch in the system. And so, it might take them a little while to get going. I don't know, but they spent a lot of money on that wide receiver position. So he better show up and he better produce for them, because they've got $100-something million wrapped up in him, and it better help.
And then you had the Packers going to the Vikings. Could be an interesting early season game here. Aaron Rodgers does a lot of talking, man, and I mean he usually backs it up. But this could be a trap game for them walking into the Vikings. What do you think?
I could easily see the Vikings winning this game, especially if this coach knows what he's doing. We'll see real quick. O'Connell has proven to be a pretty good coach, and it just, what does it look like with him as the head guy? I mean, the Packers have a lot of question marks. Alan Lazard is banged up. Robert Tonyan is still a little banged up. What does David Bakhtiari look like? I mean, is he even going to play? Eldon Jenkins is banged up. The two best offensive linemen they have are both still banged up. And then, what I think about the receiving corps is garbage. So I don't know, man. This could be an eye-opening experience for the Packers. I mean, they're on the road in Minnesota, and the Vikings, they don't have old Zimmer holding them back anymore. So could be a whole new deal.
I think so too. And I'm looking at that game. I'm circling it like I think the Vikings can take that one too. My poor Giants have to go down and start their season down in Nashville. And I like Brian Dable, and I think if they stay the course, they're going to be all right. I would love to think that they could go in there against the Titans and do something, but I'm having real trouble finding what they can do.
Yeah, I don't even know what to tell you about the Giants, buddy. It's there's a lot more questions than there are answers. I mean, they're gonna go as far as Daniel Jones goes, and obviously they've got a first-time head coach as well. So it's really hard, in my opinion, to judge these teams until you see what they look like in a real game with their new head coach. So not a great place, in my opinion, to kick off your career down in Nissan Stadium in Nashville with a coach that certainly does know what he's doing.
Yeah. Then we got the Chiefs Cardinals. The Cardinals, we know early in the season, they do really, really well. Later in the season, they don't. But these are the Chiefs coming in. I think Andy Reid understands that he needs to get off to a real good start. And, the Cardinals quarterback, he's got that price tag on his head now. A lot of money. He's got to prove that he can actually play 17 games.
Yeah, I once again, I don't understand the urgency with trying to get Kyler Murray paid as quickly as they did. I mean, why not make him earn it? I don't get it. He's looked really good at the beginning of the season, so maybe we should go ahead and pick him in this game because this is usually when he plays well. But let's be honest, when defenses have adjusted to him and tried to make him be a pocket passer, it has not looked good. I mean, when they've dropped 7 guys, 8 guys into coverage, he's struggled mightily, and I think it's kind of created a roadmap for how to beat him. And we'll see if teams continue to use that. If he continues to struggle when he's not allowed to, or kept from using his legs.
And then we got the Buccaneers going into Dallas. I mean, I tell you, Gisele Bundchen might have just killed Todd Bowles' year.
I'll tell you what, man, Tommy does not look good. I don't know if you saw the press conference.
He looks drawn. He looks unhealthy.
He does. He really does. He looked really thin, and he looked like he'd aged about 10 years since I last saw him, which was just about a month ago in his last press conference, maybe a month and a half. He looked horrible, and it looks like which I I don't like him, but I don't like anyone to have problems, family troubles, and problems at home. So I feel bad for him, but he looks rough, and as anyone that's ever had family problems can tell you, it takes its toll on you. So.
Well, any emotionally. I mean, when you break up with a girlfriend, you break up with a fiance, whoever or whatever is going on in your life, it affects the way you work, the way you eat, the way you do everything. And to have it play out in the press and across every TV show, it makes it even worse. So, I mean.
Yeah, it sucks when you're a superstar, man. I mean, there's paparazzi just camped outside his house, and they're like, "Oh, Gisele hasn't been home in a week," I mean, it's Tom hasn't taken a dump in an hour.
And everybody's got to have their opinion on him. You don't know this guy. You don't know her. I don't know. But I just say it's kind of where Todd Bowles, I feel sorry for, is he thought he was getting Tom Brady of 2 years ago. I don't know if Tom Brady can be what he was 2 years ago. And I feel sorry for Todd Bowles because he got screwed in my estimation with the Jets when they made him put Sam Darnold in there instead of hanging on to Teddy Bridgewater and giving him a chance to do what the Giants did with Kurt Warner and Eli Manning. But that's going back years, but I just feel sorry for Todd Bowles because I think it's going to be a bumpy ride for the Buccaneers. I don't think it's going to be an easy season for them. They may be a playoff team, but it's going to take them. It's not going to be a run through the season, and we're going to see it early. And I think Jerry Jones and Dak Prescott are sitting there going, "Yes, couldn't happen to a nicer guy at a nicer time."
Oh no, this is definitely the best time to play these guys. Ryan Jensen out for the year, their big time center. Chris Godwin and Russell Gage are both banged up and are going to be
Gronkowski.
Gronkowski's gone. The head coach that won the Super Bowl's gone. A lot of things have changed, and I'm not so sure that this team's going to look the same. I mean, people don't really talk a ton about Ndamukong Suh, but that guy just could not have played better, in my opinion, over the last few years for the Buccaneers. He's gone too. So we'll see what it looks like without all those dudes in the lineup.
And then we got the Broncos. I mean, Russell Wilson should have an easy time against the Seahawks just because the Seahawks won't be putting up any points. The only thing that could hurt them is if Russell Wilson decides that he wants to show Pete Carroll that, wasn't him and that he needs him more than that. But, I mean, that should be – the Broncos should take care of that relatively easy.
I would think so. I just think it's very interesting that we had a bunch of QB shakeups, and Baker's playing the Browns in week 1, and Russell's playing the Seahawks in week 1. It's funny how this stuff materializes, isn't it?
It's never scripted. Never scripted. Yeah, and last year Sam Darnold started against the Jets in week 1.
Yep.
It's no, but it's not. They put it in the computer and the computer spits it out, right?
Yeah,
that's how they spit out schedule.
It's a roll the dice.
Yeah. All right, let's get there. I know you got to get going because your ride's coming, but we got to touch on the Bills-Rams tonight. I mean, it should be. I hope it's a really good game. Usually these games are. They don't usually disappoint. The first Thursday night game usually turns into if not a classic, a very competitive game. But I'll tell you one thing. I think the Bills have something to say right now. I think the Bills need to show. It's not that they haven't won big games, but they haven't really come out in a game like this and really put their foot on the other team's throat, so to speak. What do you think?
I got to be honest. I'm a little bit confused and a little bit worried about Matthew Stafford. His elbow and having off-season surgery and not really playing in the preseason and being limited in practice. He says he's okay. They claim that they're good to go, and maybe he is. I don't know, but I'm a little bit worried about it, and I hope he's all right because I want to see Josh Allen versus Matt Stafford. That would be fun to watch. So I hope he's 100%, and I hope he's ready to go because if these two guys are both healthy, it should be a shootout.
All right, let's do. We're going to have a competition between me and Nate during this year. We're going to have each make 3 picks a week, and whoever has the best record at the end of the year will the other guy owe the other guy a dinner, or the loser will owe the other guy a dinner. So, you want to give your 3 picks first?
Sure. I'll go first. My first pick, I'm going with the Steelers and Mike Tomlin. I know it's hard. It's stupid, I guess, to pick against Joe Burrow, but I'm not really picking Joe Burrow to lose because they've got 6.5 points.
Yeah.
So Bengals can still win by 5 or 6, and I win. So I'm picking the Steelers and the points. I know it's in Cincinnati, but I don't care.
I'll just say that's one of my picks too. I'm with you on that one.
Okay, well, I got the Steelers and the points there. I'm liking that. I'm also taking Philadelphia in the 4 points. I know the Lions played some teams tight last year, but Eagles got A.J. Brown. They've upgraded their running back core. They picked up Trey Sermon. I like the offensive line. I think the defense will be better. I like the Eagles. I think they're going to win by more than 4 points. I think they'll win by at least 5, maybe 6. I don't care. As long as it's 4.5, I'm good. So I'm taking the Eagles. And then my last one, I'm rolling with Billy Belichick and the Patriots. I know it's in Miami. I get all that. I know the Dolphins are supposed to be great on paper, but I just I'm hearing all these people question Bill Belichick, and I'm laughing about it because I think it's ridiculous. And the Dolphins are getting 3.5. Maybe they'll win by 3, but I think it's going to be a close game either way. And I'm taking the Patriots and the points.
All right. Well, we agreed on Pittsburgh. My 2 games that are different than yours. I'm taking Dallas over Tampa Bay. I'm going to give that 2.5.
All right.
I think that right now it's set up like we just came off talking about it. I think that the Buccaneers are in a bad way. And I just think, Dallas is maybe not in the best situation. Their offensive line has kind of had some problems, but I think Dak Prescott will play well enough to win. And then I think Vegas over the Chargers. I think Vegas is going to do something to start the year against the Chargers. And, they're getting 3.5. So
3 points.
3. Okay, they're getting 3. So I'll take that, and I'm going to go with Vegas.
Okay. Honestly, that's not a bad pick there because, they are playing in SoFi Stadium, which the Chargers share with the Rams. I mean, it's like it's not really a home field advantage. And like I said, if Devontae Adams can be that guy and be that number 1, which we all know he can be, it could really open things up for that Raiders offense. And I think it could make a difference. So I like that pick. I think you're good. I hope you're wrong, but I think it's a good pick.
I think the Raiders fan base travels.
Oh yeah.
You talked about the Niners making that stadium a home team. I could see the Raiders doing it because the Raiders were in LA for a long period of time too.
Well, hell, the Raiders have been in like 5 different cities, so they've got fans all over the place. They've been in Oakland, they've been in LA, now they're in Vegas. I mean, they've got a little triangle of fan base. So hopefully, as long as you're playing in that triangle, you should be good, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, what do we got on man coverage this week?
We were supposed to have Deshaun Bussell from Western Michigan come on, but he actually got hurt yesterday in practice, and he's getting an MRI today. He's already been ruled out of the game Saturday, so we're gonna let him focus on his health and have him come back. But I just got a message. We're gonna have Coach Johnson come on, who's a guy that's going to talk to us a little about recruiting, and definitely go check out the show from last week if you missed it. We had former Ohio State quarterback Belisari come on, and we kind of asked him, what's CJ Stroud dealing with, being the Ohio State quarterback in a big time game, expected to win in the opener. What is that like? And we kind of got him to give us his analysis of that and give us some feedback, considering he started at quarterback for Ohio State throughout parts of 2 seasons. It was kind of cool to hear his thoughts and get his breakdown of the game too, because he sure as hell knows a lot about football. His dad was a coach for 30, 40 years down in Florida, and him and his brother both played for Ohio State and played in the NFL, and he gave a really good breakdown of week 1, especially of the Ohio State Notre Dame game.
All right, well, let's get going. We got the Bills and Rams. Everybody enjoy first week of the NFL, second week of the NCAA, and we will be back next week. Nate, have a good night.
All right, bud, take it easy.
Take it easy.